Strap yourself in, guys. We are going to have a bunch of fun in this video. Now, I'm sure that somewhere online at some point in your life, you have seen a video that goes through all the male archetypes and all the male aesthetics, and then proceeds to then rank all of those archetypes and aesthetics in a tier list. That is exactly what I'm going to do in this video, but there is one catch which is going to make this interesting for you. All the archetypes and all the aesthetics that I talk about are going to be represented by guys that have long hair. Now, in my tier list, we're going to have three categories. Right at the top, we are going to have mainstream appeal, meaning that regardless of whether someone has a preference for long hair on a man, this look is attractive. Right below mainstream appeal, we are going to have high appeal. And when I talk about high appeal, it means that if someone likes long hair, this is probably one of the most attractive looks for them. But if someone doesn't like long hair, this probably isn't going to be super attractive for them. And then right below that, I am going to have niche appeal, meaning that this isn't going to be everybody's cup of tea, but there is absolutely going to be someone that finds the look attractive. So let's kick off the tier list and let's jump in with the first archetype. And that first archetype is going to be the surfer archetype. Straight off the bat, this is going in mainstream appeal. So when I think about the surfer aesthetic, I think about guys like Jay Alvarez. I think about guys like Fit Benny. And really what the surfer look really to me represents is a lifestyle. And that lifestyle usually comes alongside warm weather, a beach, the sun, tan skin. And when you think about all of those things, that is a very, very attractive lifestyle. But when we think about hair in this category, usually what we think about is wavy, textured, tousled hair. Hair that I guess isn't like overly styled, but just has a lot of volume and a lot of bounce to it. Hair, I guess, that really represents just overall health. And that representation of health from the hair, usually combined with a lean, athletic body, is just a super attractive look. You then throw the connotations of the lifestyle with it, and for that reason it has to go in mainstream appeal, because who doesn't like sun, who doesn't like the beach, and who doesn't like a hot country? The next archetype that I'm going to talk about is going to be the pretty boy archetype. Now, this one may split people's opinions, but I'm actually going to put this in the second category, which is going to be high appeal. So yeah, I get it, right? People and women, young girls in particular, have simped over pretty boys for years. But the reason why I'm only going to put this in high appeal is I think as people get older, they tend to age out of that preference and they tend to age out of that type. So when I think about the pretty boy aesthetic, I'm thinking about guys like Harry Styles. I'm thinking about guys like Shawn Mendes. And whilst I respect and whilst I realise that for some people they very much have a preference for that, I think that that is younger people. And actually as people get older, both guys and girls, they tend to lean into a different preference and tend to prefer something else. So whilst there is absolutely huge appeal in pretty boys, I don't think I can put it in mainstream appeal, because I think for some people it just is a little bit too soft. Next archetype and aesthetic that I'm going to talk about is the hypermasculine. Straight off the bat again, I'm going to say this archetype goes in mainstream appeal. And when I think about this archetype, I'm thinking about Jason Momoa, I'm thinking about Chris Hemsworth as Thor, I'm thinking about Roman Reigns, the wrestler, and I'm thinking about Can Yaman, the Turkish actor. So this look is all about dimorphism. And where we think about the pretty boy, what the pretty boy does when they grow their hair out is the long hair makes them look softer. When the hypermasculine guy grows out their long hair, the long hair makes them look more dimorphic, more masculine. It makes them look more powerful. It makes them look like they've got even more of a presence. And again, you can really see this in the mainstream world. Women have simped over Jason Momoa for over a decade now. Plenty of people have never even heard of Can Yaman or even watched a Turkish speaking film, but at some point have seen him on their social media because he's considered to be so attractive. People tune in to watch Roman Reigns wrestle, even though they don't even understand the rules of wrestling. You just kind of see it everywhere. These guys have always been popular. And actually, for me, this makes sense when you think about it on an evolutionary perspective as well. Contrast and dimorphism are actually one of the things that is proven to be the most attractive trait in anybody when you're determining on a subconscious level what attraction looks like. And when you have long hair combined with a masculine frame and facial hair, the contrast is powerful and the dimorphism is just further exaggerated. So yeah, comfortably this look goes into mainstream appeal. The next aesthetic that I'm going to talk about is going to be the soccer player. This is my current favorite aesthetic, if I'm being honest, when we're looking at men's medium to men's long hair. And when I think about this look, I think about Paolo Maldini, I think about Francesco Totti as really, really good old school examples of it. And in current times, I think about Riccardo Calafiori and I think about Marcus Llorente in terms of how he's wearing his hair at the moment. Now this look, again, I'm going to put in mainstream appeal, simply just because women and people in general have fancied soccer players for years. And I think really growing up when I was at college, it always used to be discussed between both the men and the women who the best looking soccer players were. So when I think about this look, I think about hair that's about the same length as mine. So not super long, but definitely not short. It's usually fairly well styled. And if a guy's playing sport, he'll usually wear it up or he'll wear some type of Alice band or some type of headband. And yet, again, you'll see it. People will tune in to watch a match even though they're not remotely interested in the outcome because they want to see a specific player. Football players and soccer players will be pictured in sports commercials because they're considered to be attractive and they know that will help them sell the product. And yet, for that reason, it just is a mainstream appeal look and always will be. Next aesthetic that I'm going to talk about is going to be the hipster aesthetic. And I'm going to put this look in niche appeal. When I think about the hipster aesthetic, I think about guys like Hank G. I think about guys like Jerome Matthew. Now, don't get me wrong, both of these guys are obviously good looking guys, and both of these guys absolutely will have legions of people that fancy them. But when I look at the people that fancy them, and I look at the people that comment on their social media posts saying how attractive they are, these are people that look like they follow and live a very, very similar lifestyle. So again, hugely attractive to people, but generally speaking, I would say as a rule of thumb, it's a look that's attractive to people that come from the same niche and are represented by the same niche. And again, I think that makes a lot of sense. Usually the hipster aesthetic tends to be accompanied by quite a specific lifestyle. And you know, that lifestyle can at times be plant-based or not be focused on eating meat. It's often a lifestyle which is just based on overall health and living off the land, rather than, I guess, some of the other lifestyles and aesthetics that we're talking about here, which I guess are a lot more earthy and urban focused in terms of their look. So yeah, definitely attractive, but a niche appeal look for sure. Next aesthetic that I'm going to talk about is the rugged aesthetic. And this is going to go into high appeal. So when I think about the rugged aesthetic, I think about guys like Kevin Creekman, and I think about guys like Levi Stock. And if you look at Kevin and you look at Levi, what's the thing that you notice? Disheveled hair, facial hair, usually overgrown facial hair as well, tattoos, leather jackets, all of those kind of things. You know, these guys just look a little bit edgy, however you think about it. Now, you could definitely make a case that people find this look attractive, but I know personally as a guy that has tattoos, and actually when I grew my hair out the first time, this was the look that I really tried to represent. I know that this look can be a little bit too disheveled and a little bit too dirty for some people. And, you know, let's be honest, some people find a much more corporate, slicker, polished look more attractive. So again, high appeal because people absolutely do like this look, but I can't put it in mainstream just because people will definitely have other preferences which go way away from this look. Next aesthetic that I am going to talk about is the rocker aesthetic. So I'm going to go a little bit more historical when I think about this. So I think about guys like Robert Plant, I think about guys like Axl Rose, and I think about guys like Lenny Kravitz. So I'm going to put this one in niche appeal again. Now, absolutely, the three names that I just gave have had people fancy them for years, and have had people appreciate their talent for years. But again, we are in a little bit of a niche when we talk about it. You know, the average mainstream person in the world would not put any of those people as their favorite celebrity crushes. You know, they may appreciate the talent, they may appreciate the look, but in terms of just an outright attraction perspective, it's always going to be people that sit in that niche which are most drawn to it. And the final aesthetic that I'm going to talk about is going to be the romantic aesthetic. And when I think about that look, I think about Orlando Bloom in Pirates of the Caribbean in his much younger days. I think about Jon Snow in Game of Thrones. And I think about Aidan Turner when he played Poldark many a year ago as well. This look really, I guess, is what I would think about as being kind of like peak attraction gaze. And really it's when you use the long hair to kind of aid your attraction. You use the long hair to make you stand out a little bit more. but you also just use that long hair just to, I guess, make yourself just look like you're the lead in a period drama, or you're the lead in a TV show, or you're the lead in a kind of like a historical film. So again, straight away, this look is going to go in mainstream appeal. And let's be honest, people have sat through shows like Game of Thrones because they fancied Kit Harington when he played Jon Snow. People sat through the Pirates of the Caribbean film because they wanted to see Orlando Bloom and they wanted to see Johnny Depp. It is just mainstream appeal, and it always will be. So that's it. Those are the archetypes, but I want to end with, I guess, a different sentiment. I said at the start, right, that this is a positive channel, and I feel so passionately about this being a positive channel. If you disagree with everything I said in this video and you want to say something to the effect of, I don't care what people think about my hair, I'm growing it for me, that is a fucking healthy attitude to have, and I salute you for that take. Really, when I'm doing a video like this is just light-hearted. And to be honest, as a guy growing out my hair, I don't particularly care what people think about my hair. I just find it fun to talk about. So honestly, guys, keep growing your hair, rock your hair however you want. You're always going to find someone in the world that likes it. And if you don't, fuck them. It's your hair, your choice. You enjoy it. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please can I ask you to click like and subscribe down below. And if you really liked it, please check back for more content on men's long hair, men's fashion, men's lifestyle, men's mental health, and all the things that you and I can do together to become a better man.